Hi, Sally Walker here, your hormone expert, and welcome to my hormone blog. Today I'm going to answer a question from Julie, and Julie's from the UK. So she's saying she's been told that she has PCOS, and that is probably the cause of her not being able to get pregnant. So she says, Sally, can you explain to me what PCOS is, and can I do anything about it? Well, Julie, you just listen on here because I'll tell you all about it. Okay, so PCOS are the letters which are telling us the syndrome, as it's called, polycystic ovary and syndrome. So what does that mean? So let's just start there. So poly is many, cysts is C, so cystic. So cysts. So we all get the impression of a pimple or a boil when we say cyst. But what it's talking about here actually is the little follicles in your ovaries which contain the eggs. So many follicles or many eggs, ovaries, polycystic ovaries, and then syndrome. So syndrome is the word which describes a collection of symptoms, and this is the challenge with polycystic ovary syndrome, is that there is no sort of real definite diagnosis. Can be quite difficult to diagnose. Now, there are several criteria where they're saying that 2 of the 3 of these criteria must be present before they can give you a diagnosis. Now, Julie, I don't have that information, so I don't know which criteria they've used for you, but let's just look at the criteria and perhaps you'll recognise some of them. So the first one is doing an ultrasound scan of your ovaries to see if you have polycystic, to see if you have 12 or more little of these follicles, these little eggs. They'll be in a little row and they'll look like little pearls on a string, really. That's what they look like. So that's polycystic. But that's not enough to say that you do have polycystic syndrome. It says that you have polycystic ovary, that you have lots of the little follicles, but that doesn't necessarily say that you have the actual syndrome. To get the syndrome diagnosis, you have to have one of the next 2 types of symptoms. So the next one is what we call for hyperandrogenism, So hyperandrogenism. So what the hell does that mean? Well, hyperandrogenism means having a lot of androgens. Now, androgens are the male hormones, so things like DHEA, things like androstenedione, things like testosterone, and the very, very powerful androgen called dihydrotestosterone, DHT. So if you have symptoms of having a lot of male hormones, and this could be things like acne, the pimples, but definitely the acne, things like excess hair growth on your face, on your body, so dark hair on your arms, possibly on your legs, maybe around your nipples, and the telltale line from your belly button down to the top of your pubic bones. If you have a dark line here as well, then these are things which are sort of generally classified as being a high or a big production of male hormones. And the last one for the criteria is actually menstrual dysfunction. So are you having heavy bleeds or are you not having bleeds? And then the biggie here is, are you having an ovulation or are you not having an ovulation? So 2 of these 3 criteria, you've got the polycystics, so you've got the many little eggs, you've got the hypoandrogenism, so lots of male hormones running around giving you excess hair growth, maybe acne, and also actually male baldness patterns, so on the top of the head, possibly in the crown, but definitely in this area here, that you're getting thin hair. And the other criteria would be that your menstrual cycle has gone to pot. Basically, there's problems there. So 2 out of these 3 criteria, then you will officially be given the diagnosis polycystic ovary syndrome. Yes. Okay, so now we have a picture of that. So what the hell can we do with it? Can we do anything about it? Well, yes, we can absolutely do something about it. A lot of it will be to do with lifestyle choices. So they're the things that we need to look at. But before we look at this, let's have a little look at the hormones, yes, because the hormones are very important here. So two of the criteria, the polycystics and the menstrual dysfunction, are all happening in your uterus. So anything going on down there in your uterus and in your ovaries obviously must have something to do with the three hormones. So we've got progesterone, we've got testosterone, and we've got estrogen. So it's the three hormones. So basically, as I've been talking about the ladies with their perimenopause and menopause times, that if you've got any symptoms, think about the three hormones. Well, I would say if you're having any fertility problems or any menstrual problems, then you want to be thinking of the three hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. There will be an imbalance. And this is what we're definitely seeing with the polycystic ovaries. So we know, one, that testosterone is one of the criteria. So the big production of testosterone. So we've got the one hormone which is out of balance. We need to look at that. But it will have a knock-on effect. So if we are producing lots of testosterone in our ovaries, which we do in the little follicle, we have little cells there that which produce testosterone, so that then we can convert this testosterone to estrogen. And what many of the ladies have challenges with is actually that the estrogen becomes high, and estrogen's job is to get the little eggs ready, isn't it? So we start getting lots of little eggs ready. But for some reason, we don't get the ovulation. So what happens when we don't get the ovulation? Can you remember this, ladies? Yes, well, when we don't get the ovulation, we do not get to produce progesterone. So there's your imbalance. You've got lots of testosterone, you've got lots of estrogen, and you're going to be low, very low with your progesterone. So looking at trying to balance those hormones would be a good place to start, because getting you to ovulate, and I'm thinking now of Julie, getting you to ovulate, Julie, is obviously going to help you get pregnant, but it's also going to help balance out these hormones. So supporting progesterone production would be a good thing to do. So now, Julie, I don't know anything about your cycle. I don't know if you're regular. I don't know if you go 28 days. I have no idea what you do. But supporting progesterone 14 days at a time might even help you make a cycle. And you can do this with using some progesterone creams. You could also use the supplement Vitex Agnes Castus. It's a really good supplement to use with the younger girls and the younger ovaries. A very good thing to do. This could help. You could also talk to your doctor about possibly doing some progesterone pills. They're called Utrogestan. Have a little look at those as well, or have a little talk with your doctor about this. So that could be a start. Now, we need to address the high testosterone, and this is very important because we can also take steps, lifestyle choices, supplements, etc., to try to decrease the amount of testosterone. So there are different criteria as to why your testosterone production may be high. You may, from nature's hand, you might naturally like producing lots of DHT. So DHT is this very powerful form of testosterone, which is created from testosterone, and it's much more powerful than normal testosterone. And some girls are genetically disposed or favour making lots of this DHT. So you would really like to get a picture of this. So you'd like to get a picture, obviously, of your progesterone, and you'd like to get a picture of this. So doing some urine testing to find out which of the hormones are working and how much you're producing of the different hormones is going to be a very critical thing to do here. So find out if you're making DHT. So if you are favouring DHT, then you need to try to block that pathway. So block the conversion from testosterone to DHT, and see if that will decrease your DHT. And there could be various supplements that can be used here. So another reason for you making lots of testosterone can be due to stress. So we also produce testosterone in our adrenal glands, and we also produce testosterone in our skin cells, basically. So what happens here is that if you are stressed, then you will have an increased production of cortisol, but you will also, for a period of time, have an increased production of DHEA, and DHEA will then convert into testosterone. So you could, in stressful situations, produce more testosterone. What also could happen here is that as you become stressed through a longer period of time, what happens is that your progesterone production, because you also produce progesterone in the adrenals, will be lost. So now you're going to lose even more progesterone. Yeah, so you're not ovulating, not producing progesterone, you're stressed, and your adrenals maybe not producing the amount of progesterone they should be doing. So it's like a double whammy. So it's going to make the problem even worse. So you want to consider stress. And stress can be physical, but it could also be mental and emotional. And very often it's the mental emotional stresses which are the worst. So then we have the last criteria or reason why testosterone might be high. And this is the hormone insulin. So insulin will increase the production of testosterone in your ovaries. So if you have a higher production of insulin because of high blood sugars, then this might be the cause of you producing too much in your ovaries. There's too much testosterone in your ovaries. So you need to address the insulin situation. You need to address your blood sugar. If you're producing more insulin, you're going to be storing more fat. So if you are a little bit on the chubby side, Julie, storing a little bit more fat, then this might be the absolute cause to your increase of testosterone. So you need to look at doing lifestyle changes, get that fat burning, so that you can decrease your insulin. And just remember here that one of the reasons for lifting blood sugar is not just the foods that we're eating, but it's also cortisol. So if you are stressed and you're producing more cortisol, then you will be affecting your blood sugar levels as well, which will be affecting your insulin and which will be affecting your testosterone production. It's a big knock-on effect. So there are many reasons why that these hormones will be out of balance. Now, as I said, it's important here, Julie, it is very important here for you to test these hormones. You need to have a clear picture. How much testosterone do you have? Do you like producing DHT? How much estrogen do you have? Perhaps you need to start clearing some of it out. How much progesterone do you have? How much cortisol do you have? These are all really important hormones to get a picture of. Likewise, what's your blood sugar doing and what's your insulin doing? All of these things you need to get a big picture of, because only then can we make decisions about which choices, which changes, which supplements, etc. are going to be necessary to bring you these hormones back in balance and get you ovulating so you can get pregnant. Well, I hope this has answered your question, Julie. Thank you very much for it. And I hope others that have been listening have gained some knowledge here, as PCOS is actually the biggest cause of infertility that we have with young ladies today. So perhaps there's many of you out there looking at this and thinking, oh, I need to do some changes. Well, this is a start for you. So anyway, if you're sitting with another symptom, another question for me about hormones, please send me an email, sw@sally-walker.com. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll just take it from there. So I will see you again another day. Happy hormones, happy life.